What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. So, like the thumbnail says, we're going to talk about some stock market trouble. Maybe. Um, I'll put it this way: if you follow, like, if you're on the Patreon or if you're in my mentorship group and you follow the trades that I do, right, the ones that I post, uh, real time, in and out every day, you're gonna notice there. I'm gonna buy a put tomorrow, and I honestly I don't know if it's gonna be in the Nasdaq or the S&P. More than likely the S&P, but that will be our that might be our first put in that account. And it is going to be risking capital. We're just at all-time highs, and something we haven't talked about in a little bit. It got called up my group the other day, actually, was the VIX just jumping up. This. There was a crash that happened in October a long time ago, so they called it the October red. So for volatility to hop up in October, it's actually not that rare, but we're kind of holding it here, and it kind of seems like we're waiting for something. We're buying some risk. Somebody's preparing for this. Again, this is not a contract you can just buy on Robinhood. This is well, it's not a cheap one. Don's ready to tango with Tesla. What's funny is right before the stream, I had my hands wrapped. I was just doing some cardio. I was like as it's going live, I'm trying to rip them off. Oh, but I'm ready if Tesla does something dumb tonight. I love this plan. I want to be a part of it. Here's what I'll probably talk more with the midship group. And that's again, I post my place. We talk about it a lot. So it's not that I just intend. I don't talk about this to be like an ad, like, oh, you can only get this stuff if you come over here. I genuinely don't know. It's probably going to be at the money, likely. I don't know if it's going to be the last week of October or first week of November. Um, it's going to be around that time frame for a pullback. We're at all-time highs in the S&P, and the VIX is up. We do have a rate decision. That's actually in November. I said we have some things around the corner. I don't want to go too expensive, but I can tell you now it will be risking capital. It will be this thing goes to zero, or we'll likely get some sell off in the time and manage it and be green. Don was warming up, ready to fight Elon if he messes this up. I wear one tank top. All the other YouTubers wear tank tops. Nobody says anything. Have to go past election. It just starts to get pricey, and and again, that's why I'm just not sure yet because I just might. My idea was some October volatility. We get a leg down. We're at all-time highs, so we can manage that. And maybe there's a way we take both. There's a November one and an October one kind of thing. Tank Top Thursday confirmed. It's been a while since Tank Top Tuesday. All right, let's get on with it. The dollar, we normally hit that first. Today, whole lot nothing, a little bit up, a little bit down, slightly annoying. My money is better be starting to go up. I don't know how else so I can word that. So I'm short this, and this is kind of my last leg right here. I don't really want the dollar going any higher. I'm short from up here, so I'm still up a ton. I was up a whole lot more down here, and I've locked in some. Don't get me wrong; it's still a fantastic trade. I just wanted to be in longer. This is the trade I wanted to make $1 million on. And at the beginning of this, when I was talking about being short up here, I'm not just throwing out $1 million and that's it. I legitimately want this to be my biggest trade. I've never made $1 million on one trade. But I talked about it's going to be difficult for these swings to show up in the account, and as a trader, not take advantage of that, because I'm thinking I'm on the weekly, monthly time frame, and there's a lot of in and outs. There's a lot of trade opportunities in here. I'm normally on the daily time frame, so I can play the in and out game. I could have taken a ton of trades just in this last little V formation. But I'm trying to stick in it. It's just it's hard, and I almost want to just tag out, lock it in, and then get back. Just because you could have bought the dip at that zone, trailed it, tagged out. There's a lot of things you could have done, and mostly I even talked about this zone bouncing. So this bounce was nothing even unheard of. I said we're going to struggle with this right here, and we sent it. So we played the back and forth game, but then just sent it even higher. Really, if it breaks this zone, I got to say I'm going to call it and lock it in. 90K? Nah, 1 million. Well, that was 90K in one day. It was 97. That's my PR. So this is going to take a little bit longer than one day, but $1 million, one trade. Could get back in short the 154 area. Listen, I don't need that kind of negativity on this channel. Don't ever talk about that again. We're not going to get that high ever again. Bitcoin, man, I got some Robinhood alerts today on this. Bitcoin below 64, Bitcoin below 63, Bitcoin below 60. I will say in this zone earlier today, I did buy some more Beto. So Beto got down to there. I bought it at 1692. You guys saw that play if you're part of you're either in my mentorship group or the Patreon. But you saw that, you got notified. So I did add some more to that. I still don't want to sell any calls, I guess, yet. But that's also, we're going to add a little bit more to this regardless. I do actually still like crypto quite a bit. I like Bitcoin quite a bit. And I really like this one. It's a Bitcoin futures ETF. It does pay a nice dividend. You feel it when the dividend pays, and then a couple days later, you just get reimbursed is basically all that happens. Makes it feel like you're doing something. But I think if we can capture that dividend and get the rise out of Bitcoin, like if I'm right, we're going to hit it from both sides on this one. Hate to break it to you, but if you tag out and get back in, that trade is done. Then it would be a new trade if it still makes sense. Oh, it does. My mentor taught me that. Oh, yeah. No, if that tags out, that's the end of it. I hear you on that. I can make $1 million collectively. That won't mean anything. That's not cool. All right, S&P. Are we still inside this range? No, a lot of people are talking. They're doing the things, flapping their gums. Okay, so this is actually an hourly sideways. So we have one green hour up. I'm going to try to make it. We're live on TikTok as well. So while if you're super zoomed in, you're trading futures. This is the ES. This is the S&P futures. Again, this is what drives order flow into Tigger, the ETFs like SPY or VOO. So we have 1 hour up, and then everything else just inside that. We have been range bound for some time now. I have these red lines. So if you have my charts, anybody if you're a YouTube member or Patreon or anything like that, you guys have my charts. If you ever see the 2 red lines like that, just go to whatever time frame. You'll see it on one of these time frames. It's going to line up to one candle. And again, these are just my notes, right? So all of that is inside. The break above or below is probably your signal to which way we're going to go. Not just temporarily. You got some warning shots right here, 2 up top. I kind of think this is. We'll see what tonight brings with the Tesla event, the We robot. Maybe Tesla could save the market. I kind of think we're about to. What I really hope happens, we break this to the upside. Gotcha, and then send it right back down. Really by design. The market loves to make people just look stupid, so that's about the dumbest thing that could happen. Is it does that, everybody gets excited, and then I look dumb because it sends it back down. I'm jaded. Why am I jaded? Let's see. No, Lori, I need some. Oh, I've never made $1 million on all my trades. I find that hard to believe. You haven't done that, Lori? BlackRock and JP Morgan earnings are in the morning. Matter for SPY. Probably a little bit more for the Russell. So we'll get to that here in a second. Again, S&P, whole lot of nothing. Jumping into the NASDAQ here. So the QQQ will follow this. Not quite the same sideways range, but playing the back and forth game between these zones. Tesla will likely move this one a tad bit more. I don't know. I got to say, so right now I just told you guys I want to buy SPY puts for the end of October, maybe first week of November. Now, if we actually send it, let's say Tesla comes out with something cool, it's Optimus, it's partnering with Microsoft, whatever, it's just all the tech names, right? It hits all the keywords and tech sends it. Then I would switch and buy a NASDAQ put. They would be cheaper. The volatility would definitely help us out. So right now I plan on doing it in SPY. If we send it tonight and tomorrow, it'll be the NASDAQ. Laura, I would have guessed. I would have guessed you've already done that. I'm surprised. I don't get the jaded comment though. When are they gonna report earnings? Tesla? I don't know. Don't worry about Tesla earnings. That's nothing. It never is. When we get Tesla, I'll look at it. It'll say on there. All right, now the Russell. So 21 or 22% of the Russell is financials. So we got XLF. So maybe that's a zone play right here. It looks like JP Morgan and BlackRock will be the ones that decide if this zone holds, if that's a test back or not. I think I'm bullish. I would be on the bullish side. So if you were going to play those earnings, if you wanted to play it in the futures realm, you could take a Russell contract right now. If not XLF, you can just grab some banks. We looked at it earlier. I think I'm bullish JP Morgan. Was it I go back and forth between which one I want to buy, Bank of America or JP Morgan. I think I would take the long play on JP Morgan. You think $1 million is not a lot? Oh, no, I do. I'm not blind. I mean, I went from sleeping in my car. I know how much $1 million is. But I'm trying to make $1 billion, so I need to make that 1,000 times. Yeah, TikTok. Give me one. I see you guys jumping in with some things to call out. Every time I go live, I'm going to do the dollar, the things I'm doing right now in that order. And if anybody's watching me on YouTube, same order every time, and then I'll jump into the chat and we'll do tickers. But I always get the dollar, which is what if I'm right now. I'm just short the US dollar, Japanese yen. So that's going to be next. Bitcoin, then the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Russell, whatever's trending at the time. I have a hard time. I think I would rather buy JP Morgan shares than I would buying the Russell right now. Just right now, that's just not a good look. I mean, lower lows, lower highs, and you're thinking, let's do this. Then you just go buy that. With liquidity reasons, overnight, pre-market, I don't know if I would want to just even put myself in that situation. So if I was going to, and earnings is a gamble, it's not a negative connotation, but it's a coin toss. It's a roulette trade. There's going to be an announcement and it's going to go up or down. There's going to be a reaction. That's all there is. It doesn't matter if they beat earnings. It doesn't matter their guidance. Don't worry about all that. That's all the excuses that come with it. More than likely, the guidance is probably what did move it. But I just say that in general. Your mindset is not you have an edge or you think you're going to call out this earnings. It is a gamble. Even the last one I just called out not too long ago, I was dead right on it. And it sent it. Doesn't mean anything. But when you're taking that, again, I would rather go with the shares on the physical thing itself. I don't know if I'd want to go with the Russell on this one. The Russell got ahead of itself. I don't know. Russell's kind of boring. It's been just dead sideways, which is what the Russell normally does, which is why these are actually highlighted a bright yellow, because usually it's down here, makes it up to here. Didn't even make it that far lately. Okay, before I jump into the chat and answer some other questions, I got a radio voice. I don't know what a radio voice is, but that's, speaking of millions, probably the millionth time I've heard that. Smooth jazz. All right, let's talk about Tesla. Tesla has the Wii robot tonight. What this actually has is me down a lot because I'm in a mess of calls. I have calls that expire tomorrow, Friday. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow. Okay, yeah. Tomorrow, and then next week I have the 245s up to the 255s. I have the 250s. And I have a lot of shares. And like I told you guys on Sunday, I was really hoping for a run up into that because I was going to lock those in and I was probably going to buy some puts. I didn't get that position, so the trade never panned out so far. So, well, the taking profit side hasn't panned out. So right now I'm just still in the trade, kind of hoping they send it. But if I wasn't in the play already, I don't know if I would have really attacked this thing. Maybe not with calls. I think call spreads would have been a much better strategy. Had they popped up, I was thinking about even turning mine into spreads. But right now, damage is done. Theta has completely shredded that position. Better than a radio face. Been told to have that too. A dad bod, a radio face, and a radio body. Radio voice, I meant to say. Anyway, it is very unlikely that Tesla sends it after this. I really just don't see it. There's going to need to be a surprising factor. However, I will say this, and I'd say that as a disclaimer up front, because this did kind of look like manipulation today. You get the sharp move down and then buying it right back up. There's a heads and tails to everything, right? So somebody's accumulating shares. That's the bullish side because they know something, right? One of the Warner Bros. Production guys, they've been watching this. They know what's coming. So they probably leaked it to Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is holding it up. We're seeing these kind of like sharp sell-offs, but then somebody's holding it up. So the tail side to this coin is it's still manipulation. And it's Goldman Sachs is getting out. These green candles is the run up into the event, the retail buying it up, which would really suck. And this is the one thing that time will tell later. And it's, well, you're on that ride. I can just put it that way. I mean, we're all on the same ship. If you're in Tesla with me, we're on the same ship. Tomorrow we find out if it's a Carnival Cruise or the Titanic. It's about how this is going to pan out. I was almost right on the video. If you guys watched that video, I put up last night on YouTube, the McDonald's rumor. I said it was going to be the McRib and not partner with Tesla. Sounds like it is the chicken Big Mac. So I'm gonna still call that kind of a win. However, there's almost no chance Optimus is just walking out with a McDonald's bag. I'm gonna lose my mind if that is a thing. That's gonna be absolutely amazing. That would probably get a lot of people hyped. Having an Optimus appearance, let alone an Optimus appearance in a work uniform. Bring on the riots. Carnival Cruise and the Titanic are about the same. Yeah, well, I don't know. My Carnival Cruise might have an extra barrel of oil on it, and then maybe they forgot to clear it out. But the Titanic really didn't make it. Who's waiting for Tesla at 100? I don't think Tesla gets to 100. I honestly, if you guys want what I think is really about to happen, absolutely nothing. I think there's going to be theta burn on all the options. If you bought out of the money, calls, puts, even slightly at the money, I bet you are going to be feeling it tomorrow. I don't think anything's going to happen. I think it's going to go off without a hitch. I think they've prepped it. It's still not going to be like an Apple event where, first of all, Apple just annoys me. They got one person that speaks a sentence, and then they got to fly across the world or into a different country and and here's Tim to speak about this. It's like, iPhone's got a speaker now. Now here's Sandra to tell you how it sounds. And then it's back to the other continent. It's definitely not going to be anything like that. But I bet it's not going to fail. There's no chance this thing fails without a meteorite coming out of the sky. I think it's going to go off without a hitch. It's going to be fine. And then without any surprising news, Tesla's probably going to be back at the lowest, this zone right here. It's going to be right back to regular price action. Again, that thing pulls a Dale Earnhardt, takes a hard left, smokes one of those buildings. Tesla's going to be down here. Tesla's going to be way down here at that 140 mark. It's kind of like there's no in between. You can't have a mock town showing off full self driving and then have like the Cybertruck breaking the window event. If he does come out and say anything with Optimus or anything that really, you would need a really surprising moment. Optimus having something to do with it could get people excited. I think what would be bullish is if they come out and say, here is the Robo Taxi. Here's the model for the Robo Taxi, but it also doubles as the Model 2 everyone wants. You can buy it for personal use as well. First one's off the line might be dedicated for the Robo Taxi. After the first 100,000, then you can buy it. So that way you get the Robo Taxi, you get the cheap model car, the two-door everyone was talking about. You kind of kill two birds with one stone. And then I think that would send it. But I think that's a small chance for that. At that point, I think and even if they do, I think sending it's probably going to put it to that zone right there, the 275, 280-ish area. But just know that the higher it goes, the more money I make. So if they could just send this thing to 400, that'd be great. Real quick in the chat, what is your Tesla position? I remember when Meta's live stream crashed and the stock sold off 10% until they got it fixed. I I'm glad we don't have to deal with that with Robinhood because they're trading 24 hours. I'll lose my mind if something like that happens. You guys, I don't really get emotional. I lost my emotions a long time ago. That will. You guys are gonna watch me just unravel. Two birds sharing a stone. Ponzi says in 2027. Oh yeah, I don't think it. Whatever they do, it's not even coming out today. I think this is just the showing off, the unveiling. It's just like the Cybertruck, and in 3 years, or like the Semi. Hopefully, not like the Roadster. Then it comes out. Atticus is staying out of it. I know a lot of people said they've stayed out of it. There's almost no in between. You're either staying out of it or you're over allocated to the long or short side. So I was curious. Doesn't look like anybody in TikTok is in it. Everybody just joined, so I don't. I have 2,500 likes though. I do appreciate that. All right. Tesla position is no position. I would be short. I would be short longer term if my heart didn't pump Kool-Aid. What if it fails and their backup announcement is SpaceX IPO? Okay, let's just say that happens. Hey, we're gonna launch SpaceX IPO. Cool story. Your car just hit a wall. I'll buy the IPO with the Tesla funds that I'm about to lock in Tesla shares from 140, just holding. I mean, if I'm speaking as a trader, as an investor, this is just another day. The only thing that will make me sell my investment shares is if that car just takes a hard left somewhere and hits a wall. It does that. We have a catastrophic failure. I will sell my investment position. I will sell Tesla so fast. Like I don't know. I have to just market sell and take people out to lunch. Like, hey, Chipotle's coming your way for filling that order. Optimus comes out riding a cyber quad, handing out McRibs. The exact opposite of what I just said. Holding 700 shares at 149. Ricky's not in a bad spot. Ricky, do you have any calls sold against that? That could be a great income. Weekly income, too. He'll trigger a halt. Whatever it takes. Bribes. Extortion. I would break laws to sell my Tesla shares that fast. Lori has short puts at 230, 240, 250, and covered calls at 255. She got the whole spectrum. Lori's going to be the richest one because nothing's going to happen. They're gonna here's the robot we said that was going to come out, and Theta is just gonna make these things evaporate. If it gaps up at midnight, you know the rug pull is coming because that's 100% retail buying when their daily P&L resets on the Robinhood 24-hour market. Yeah. Cody says, I hope Pelosi's long. If I found out Pelosi was in this, I don't know how. So I don't care to follow the politicians. Like people are just dead set on I'm going to do that. But I'm also not stupid. Okay. There's just to understand the relation, how that works, that they have their hands in legislation. Like they know what's coming. There's just it's not even awkward timing. It's only awkward if you don't know what's going on. It's not that they have different rules. They just have information we don't. And I would assume Pelosi knows something about it. There's no way she would buy Tesla without knowing she's about to just sign those papers saying that robo-taxi's free to roam. So if I did see Pelosi got into Tesla, I would probably up my position significantly. That is a good point. Pelosi's not buying this Trump stock. Can you imagine the headlines if she did? Pelosi's a Republican. I mean, that they would. I think they would run the printers dry. I don't know if that sounds more entertaining than anything. Okay, there we go. That's Fair Value Guy. Fair Value Gary says, "What about Coinbase? Did that sell off today with?" Ooh, I like Coinbase in this zone. I would go long with the stop at 159.45. If that breaks, I would need to wait for it to turn around, and it's not looking promising. I just like that. I kind of like what Bitcoin's doing, and if Bitcoin starts to really rally and get some attention, I think Coinbase will follow suit. So I do like it, but I'm not dying on this hill. So I'd put my stop below that wick. Someone did call out DJT. I'd probably start to sell it. DJT's been on a good run the past few days. About time to get short right here in that zone. I guess here's a lesson that bag holding works. I actually bought this, watched it. I mean, we bought it back here. I bought it a while ago, and I even told, yeah, I wanted to wait for a 70 pop. I was like, it even popped up here, and I was like, still gonna wait. Didn't do jack. Waited for this, watched it go from green to red and tagged out. And then it's back up. Should have just bag held, right? That's how you win. Follow me for more awesome advice. Yeah, I still, honestly, if I was in this, it's a momentum ticker. I would, maybe add your stop a little bit wider as you're trailing it. Right now, I'd probably tighten things up a little bit on this one. Remember that day I ate a loss and bought back my puts on DJT? Lost 3,500. You told me to wait, and I didn't listen. Let's see. I think Elon will use Optimus for Mars, though. Optimus will probably be for everything. Truth in the booth. I'm holding more Coney than I should have for the entire bull run. Ricky says, I'm concerned about crypto. What are you concerned about? Let's be honest. There's Bitcoin, then there's everything else. Let's just bird's eye view. What are you really worried about on this? Worried you're going to make too much? I mean, don't let me hype you into anything or over allocate anything. Price action wise, incredibly sideways after a giant run up. And when things push up like that, they pull over or they pull back. So be it. That's just part of being in it. That's the sit there and twiddle your thumbs. You start forcing positions, you'll start to really lose more and just get out of positions you probably shouldn't be getting out of. But I don't know. I feel like crypto's in a bear market. There's a lot of sarcastic stuff I could do right now. This, I'll just be simple. That's called a bull flag. That is not a bearish, not a bearish pattern. But I do say this all the time: bull flag or reversal, because they do look the same. I think wait till after the elections. I don't think it's a bear market. I think this is disposable income. I think a lot of people are putting their money in scams, or the people that have money, it's disposable income. It's the extra stuff. It's the extra asset class going into Bitcoin. I don't think anybody's doing that right now. So after the elections, I do think after the elections, it probably won't matter. And you might have your beliefs as to one president might push it higher than the other, and there might be some really supporting facts. But I think overall, if it's going to go up, it doesn't really matter who's president. Coinbase graph. What about it? When do I think TJT dumps election? It's in a zone right now. I would be looking for sellers as we speak. So going back to DJT, how many people? Let's say they were following me. They got in here. Maybe they bought it at this zone. Now I tagged out because I don't care. You just take the L and move on. How many people are waiting to sell back at break even? I imagine there's gonna be quite a few sellers in this area. Maybe it breaks right on through. Hopefully it does. What happens if it ends up just being a wick like that time and just right back down? Gets just above, everyone says, ha, that guy on TikTok was wrong, and then it comes right back down. I'd be real cautious about it right here. This is where I'd be walking on eggshells. Now he keeps saying Coinbase graph. There it is. And TikTok, if you're just joining in, appreciate all the likes. I got 3 gold diamonds. I don't know what that means, but it sounds fancy. This is also on YouTube at Don Fron Trading. If you want to watch the beginning, going over the markets and everything else. Coinbase, again, I like it. I would go long. My stop would be 159.45. Hang on, in case you guys can't see that on your phone. Right there. So here's how I would play Coinbase. Where's my long position? Go long right here. I'm gonna have to delete this because if you ever see these on my charts, it's a trade I'm actually in. Let's go 159.45 on the dot. Take profit would have to be that next zone right here. Hopefully, hopefully it goes all the way up to here. But we got to be realistic. Put our take profit right there. It's when you're about to see some trouble, and likely that trouble could tag you out if you're trailing. So if you're to take that trade in general, it's risking 4 to make 24. That's the golden ratio. Just kidding. But be realistic with your take profit. That's what it would look like if it tags that. That's that. There's no, should I do this? Should I do that? You should probably just stick to your plan and call it a day. Is BlackRock gonna moon so my call spread makes money? I'm bullish financials. Yeah. Google doesn't have zones. You're probably on the wrong one. GOOGL. And if you're trading Google, there's Goog and then Goog-L. Add the L at the end. It's voting rights, and you need to vote. Your vote matters. Don't let anybody tell you different. Just kidding. It's actually just a little bit more liquid. So no reason. There's more reason to do that than the other one. So that's why you would do it. Just do the Google. Listen to me. Not financial advice, but just listen. All right, Palantir. Okay, last one because I do have to get to my on Thursdays we do a Zoom session because I like to see everybody's faces. Make sure they're alive. And when I start to see tears, I know I'm being a little bit mean. Palantir, one of my favorite stocks, but you're in borrowed time right now. It's a momentum ticker right now, and the profit taking could be small, but it also could strike like lightning. So I would be careful with Palantir. This is one ticker I have zero. No, so in the growth account, what I call it, right? The one we started from zero. It's not zero anymore. 15,000. Sold it at $40.10, and it popped up to 43.52. Zero FOMO. Again, like I said last night, maybe the night before. You're playing hot potato. This thing's got a nice shade of red right now. So every day you choose to swing this overnight, because I bet if something does happen, it's going to gap down. You're not going to be able to manage it in the morning. Not, oh, if it's red, I'll sell it tomorrow. You will, and it just might not be the price you think it is. So I would just be real careful with this one. It's up there, and I do think it's going to pull back. When it does, I'm going to buy a whole bunch. Palantir chart looks like NVIDIA. Long-term hold. I like it as a long-term play, but I bet we can get more for cheaper. Nothing, and I've seen people we talked about in the chat today inside my group was all the YouTubers. There's so many price targets on this: 40, 50, 60, 100, all by the year's end. Like, things don't just go straight up. Okay, those same people are also talking about Tom Lee. This is what Tom Lee says is going to happen. He says IWM to 300 by end of year. Okay, that's cool. Probably not in the cards. There's always a pullback, guys. I promise. And even looking at Palantir, I would rather wait for a pullback now. If this thing pushes to 50 and pulls back to 46, I would rather buy it at 46 on a pullback than 43.52 on some FOMO. And I would really consider what I just said to you. If you want to be here next year, I would really think about that. It wouldn't surprise me to pull back to the 32 area. 32 area, I'm going to be a pretty big buyer at. 36 is going to be hard to ignore. Those are my two areas. But when things go vertical, planes just cannot play rocket. Okay, they will run out of thrust. They hit their ceiling. They stall. They don't just stay there. And they come down a little bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to wrap it up here. Thank you all for joining. Do all the cool stuff. If you guys could help me out, I sounds weird. I know I'm mean sometimes, but I do actually want to grow. So if you could hit the follow button or subscribe or share it, I think that does the things. Do the buttons, and I'm sure I'll have a video tomorrow, losing my mind or something about Tesla. Maybe I'll even go live, but you won't know if you don't have the subscribe button turned on. So do that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.